Alright, so I'm Ryan, otherwise known as Mayonnaise Music, and I can't really recall how long it's been since my last upload, but I do know that it was a recent Jazz Vinyl Finds. So today I figured I'd go ahead and do another recent Jazz Vinyl Finds. I don't have a ton, haven't been buying records a lot. I've kind of been occupied with school and a lot of other things, and then I also kind of got into watches a little bit throughout the past couple months. So I'll take this off and show everybody what I had bought. But this is like a 1963 Hamilton Nautilus. It's an electric watch, somewhere around there. I'm not sure the actual year, but this is one that I had been eyeing, and I had some help getting this. So really glad I could get this. And even though I really didn't need another hobby, I figured watches is something that I'm kind of getting into. So. But for the records, I'm going to get into it with a 10-inch. Also, I don't know if I really like this lighting because I got the light hitting the left side of my face and then dark side on the right, or my right. But first record I'm going to get into is Chet Baker Sings. This is a 10-inch. I had picked this up in Texas, close to Houston. I can't remember the name of the shop, but this is the only thing that I've seen in there. It's kind of ironic because one of the place that I got both of my Hank Mobley originals was also in Texas, probably less than an hour away. And when I had brought everything up to the table, I don't know, I've told this story a ton of times, but I brought a stack of junk on top of rare records, Hank Mobley, and then some 10-inch stuff on Pacific. And then this was one of the ones that the guy at the shop wouldn't sell to me because he kind of thought the cover looked cool. So I figured it was kind of ironic that I scored it at a shop less than an hour, I think it was like north of there. So I'm really glad I could pick this up there too for, obvious reasons. So the next one I got, the next few I got from Greg, otherwise known as the Jazz Pheasant. I've known about him for a while. I've kept up with his posts and stuff. Amazing guy. His taste is so eclectic. It's like something that you couldn't even believe that somebody's into all this music. But when you read his posts and see how much he knows, and also just have a conversation with him, you understand how into it he actually is, and how it kind of inspires you when you talk to somebody like that, because they teach you things. I've kind of talked about this before on the channel, but it's really eye-opening when you go out there and you meet somebody who's kind of into that same that same rare hobby that you got going on. And for me and him, it's jazz records. But for something that I really got into talking to him with, it was Coltrane. And I really enjoyed talking to him about other things too, but Coltrane especially. And then I did pick up some Coltrane, not John Coltrane, but I'll get into those releases in a few minutes. But the first one that I picked up from him was Nathan Davis. I don't know how you, Makatuka, yeah, Makatuka, I think. But really good album. Had it on my want list for probably a little over a year now. And I kind of figured that I wouldn't get a clean copy, but this is near mint. Sounds amazing. I'm sure that he's got an original, so, and I'm sure it's pristine, because to give this copy up is kind of surprising. So really glad I could score that. Also, good deals too for everything that I picked up. And also, I do want to say that I did pick up this mono switch from him, and it comes with this little slip of paper. But he sells them both on eBay and on his Instagram account. So I've really been enjoying that and kind of fiddling around with mono and stereo and some of those older Blue Note recordings. Because if I got it on stereo, then I kind of want to hear it in mono. Something maybe like mid 60s stuff going on for Blue Note. A lot of those liberties were in stereo. So to hear it in mono is kind of neat. I mean, you just have to turn the volume up just a tad, but have really enjoyed that. The next one I got from him was Horace Tapscott, The Call. This is sort of a different release than something that I would usually pick up because there's a lot more players on this album, but it's definitely got that spiritual, just the vibe that I kind of strive to, that the type of stuff that I kind of like to get. So really glad I could get this from him too. And just to also say, I kind of started off, I went to him and I bought like two things because my friend is in a band called After All, and he got to play at a fire hall upstate, up north, probably about an hour from me. And Greg, he had showed up there for like to have a little vendor spot open. So I scored these albums off of him. And before my friend played his set, I went and bought like one album, and then I came back like I think not mid set, but like after he had got done playing, I went back to him and I got The Call and then Makatua from him. So, but I'll show the other albums that I got from him in the beginning too. But next one I got here is probably my favorite find within the past, well, at least since my last video. This is Talking About by Grant Green. I just love this album because, for one, it's got Talking About JC, which is, somewhat, just something to John Coltrane. It's kind of got the John Coltrane vibe going along. But then it's also got I'm an Old Cowhand on it, which is one of my favorite Mercer standards and probably one of my favorite standards of all time. But a lot of other good songs on here too. But I just love the cover work, artwork that Reed Miles had for it. This is an original stereo copy. VG++, excellent, or, I kind of put those in the same bracket, but clean cover. And I got this about 10 to 15 minutes away from me. This one guy, he goes into storage auctions, and he usually gets random stuff, random junk, and he has yard sales to kind of, sell it off, but every once in a while he'll get Blue Notes and stuff like that, and I'll watch his eBay page and I'll see him put up something like this, and then I messaged him about it, and then I showed up there, and he had a ton of stuff, a lot of good things that I just know that I couldn't have gotten, and then some things that I probably should have gotten instead of this, given how rare it was. He had a copy of Mode for Joe, which it was a second pressing, which the original didn't have a P, Plastilite P, but it was a Liberty stereo copy, and I missed picking that up. I think I could have got it for like 150 VG plus, like immaculate condition, but I did pass that up because I wanted this, and I wasn't ready to drop a ton of money that just in one day, so I just figured I'd tell him I just grabbed this, so glad I could do that. Because I did have that on my want list for a while. When I was going for my associates, and I would drive to school, I'd be listening to that album all the time, so it's kind of neat to hear it on vinyl. And then also I got my mono switch, so now I can put it in mono. The next one I got is Gene Ammon's All-Star Sessions. This is like 2 sessions combined, so it's like 10-inch stuff, I guess. I don't know what 10 inches it would have been on, but it's got like alternate takes. Maybe it's not 10-inch stuff, but it just kind of has that vibe. Maybe I'm getting that from like Clifford Brown releases and stuff like that, but this is like VG+. This is the Plastilite P variation, so it was pressed at Plastilite Factory, which is pretty neat given the fact that Prestige, didn't really do that. They had their Bergenfield and New York City pressing plant, but this has New York City labels on it. It's on both sides too, so really happy I could get this. I think I had it on my one list. I couldn't remember. I knew of it, I think, but I don't. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think I did. So the next one I got is a neat one, and one that I think is pretty overshadowed. This is Billy Bauer, Plecturist. Billy Bauer, I'm pretty positive that he was Grant Green's guitar teacher. Or maybe it was, I don't think it was Coltrane's guitar teacher, but Coltrane did have a guitar teacher as his instructor early on. But I know that Billy Bauer has some connection to some other, big jazz icon. So this is an album that I had searched up when I had heard of him. I think I read a book or something. I think it was the Coltrane interview book, and he had mentioned this name in one of the interviews, so I figured I'd look this up, and I thought it sounded pretty nice. And I had been listening to it on Spotify and streaming services for a while, but I seen this go for like 30 bucks. It's relatively clean. I mean, it's kind of hard to get a clean copy of something on this yellow Norgran label, but I managed to get something clean enough for me that kind of does the job. So the next two are also ones that I got from Greg. So this is Lord of Lords, Alice Coltrane. Really clean. It's that Dinah, I can't remember what that pressing name was. I knew about it. I remember talking about it before. I just can't remember it off the top of my head, but really good album. I had that on my want list. Just wasn't, ready to pay the price for some of these Alice Coltrane albums. And then I got Ta the El Dowd, one that was pretty high, and I sold my Third Man Records pressing because I just wasn't really impressed with it. Even though it had the physicality somewhat because it had the gatefold and all that, I wasn't impressed with the pressing itself. It had a warp, and then, I don't know, I think the physicality of the original is better, well, something I prefer, and I think a lot of other people would probably say the same, but grab this from Greg. This is a second pressing because the ABC, they're separated, so on both sides too as well, but this is a really clean copy. I think it was like near mint when I had looked at it, but I couldn't pass it up. I figured I'd support somebody that I'm, that I know online, and got to meet him for the first time at this event, so figured I'd, kind of go all out, I guess. Next one I got isn't jazz, but just gonna kind of throw it in here. This is DeTunes side B, or B-sides and rarities. My friend Seth had got me into DeTunes, and I'm pretty into it heavily now. I did buy tickets for the concert next year in Philly, so I'm gonna go with my friend to see that. But this is probably one of my favorite DeTunes album. There's a lot of good songs on here that, like, acoustic versions, like Be Quiet and Drive, Changing the House of the Flies, and then there's a Smiths song on here too, Please Please Let Me Go What I Want, which is probably what drew me to it, but I also know that, like, on TikTok it's like a popular song that everybody's using. That's what my friend had told me, but I don't have TikTok, so I don't know, like, what the trends are among the DeTunes fans, but I guess this is an album that's been bringing people in, and I'd probably say for good reason too, just giving the type of stuff on here. So the next ones I got are from a concert that I went to up at Franklin Music Hall in Philly with my friend Seth, the one who also got me into DeTunes. He's in a lot of, like, I'll just say rock, because that's just a very broad term, but we went to go see Basement, and also at the same concert there was Pavlov, Snooper, and then Narro Head, which I was more aware of Narro Head, which is probably like one of my favorite bands right now, but I also knew Basement, and they were the one that headlined the concert. But this is one of the records that I got from them. It's still sealed. I opened a few of the other ones, but this one is probably my least favorite. This is Beside Myself. A lot of these records are, a lot of these records are like reissues and stuff, but I think that one was an original. And then I have one other one that I think was an original in here. But this is Narrow Head. This is their new album, 12th House Rock. I haven't really listened to this one as much as I have some of their other stuff. I like their EP with Nervous Habits. That's probably my favorite song. I don't know if that's the most popular one or not, but that's the one that got me into them. And then I'm kind of switching it up, I guess. Let me grab one off my shelf, because I did mess up, and maybe I don't have it. Yeah, I guess I didn't put it in the box, but I got this Brenda Lee album, Too Many Rivers. And then I also have one that was like, I think it's called All By Myself, which is probably my favorite one that I had picked up. but got these for like $1 each, so was pretty happy to end up with those. And then this is Moments of Clarity by Narro Head. And I had gotten this signed by one of their guitarists. I was kind of waiting outside. Well, they had parked me in the back near the tour buses. And I worked at the state fair in my area. And I had worked for merchandise and like all that type of stuff. And I'd be around the behind the stage doing like counting merchandise and shirts and stuff like that. And I often would be, met with the opportunity to maybe meet somebody if I kind of like push my way through. Not literally, but if I kind of like put the effort in to go meet somebody like of a part of a band, then I probably could. But I was so kind of used to that I kind of just went to like through it like without even thinking, and went up to him and got him to sign this one. This one is a colored pressing, like blue in the center and then clear vinyl. The next one I got is one that I got from Rainbow Records, Upstate. Joe Williams Sings. I paid $10 for it. It's like VG Plus, probably a little more than I should have. I mean, $10 is $10, but I could probably also say that money is money. But glad I grabbed this because I like the Joe Williams stuff with Dizzy Gillespie. But the tracks on here are written, they're either written or arranged by Sun Ra, which is I think is pretty neat given how cheap this record is too. I need to grab some water. Talking a little bit too much. So then, next one I got is Color Me in Kindness by Basement. And I got this one signed by Andrew, which is their vocalist, and probably like the big name, I mean the face of the band, I would say. So I got that signed by him. I thought that was pretty cool. Got to meet him, get some pictures with him, talk to him for a little bit. So I really did enjoy that concert. And they don't really, because they're a UK-based band, so they don't play in the States a lot, but I figured that I'd go up there with my friend when he had told me about it. So the next one I got is I Wish I Could Stay Here by Basement. Not an original, but it is one of those colored variation pressings. I'm not a huge fan of those because you can't see the, scratches, marks, hairlines, any of that on records like those. But I definitely don't mind them for like, I guess, niche records like that. The next one I got here is probably my favorite vocalist like right now. Probably one that I would put in my favorites of all time too. Stella Cole. I think she kind of burst on the scene last year when she was releasing stuff on TikTok. I did have TikTok last year, ironically. And I seen she had like released a snippet of like a Christmas song that she was doing. So I think it was Christmas Dreaming, or I can't remember what the name of it was. But I did pick up her debut on vinyl from LA Reserve, which is like a small label out of New York City that does a lot of new releases for, I think it's jazz oriented, but I think they might also do other stuff too. But she did this album, and then she just did a surprise release for her Christmas album, which I pre-ordered that, and that shipped a few days ago, so I'm looking forward to that. I just love her voice. I love the standards that she does, and then I really like her personality, like live especially too. I mean, I haven't seen her live, but I've listened to her live, and because she's got a YouTube video of her at the Kennedy Center, and a lot of the things that she said kind of struck me and reminded me of how I was back in high school, because that's when she kind of had gotten into jazz herself, and I don't know, it kind of just made me kind of go back in time, I guess. But next one I got is Delta Dawn by Tanya Tucker. I knew this album had existed. I listened to Delta Dawn, probably, I mean, one of the best country songs of all time, but Tanya Tucker also has a godly voice. but I never listened to the entirety of this album, and I decided to do that a couple days ago. And I really regret not doing it years ago, because I mean, I've known about this album since I was a kid. My dad had played it. I've heard it almost everywhere. Just Delta Dawn though. But the rest of it is amazing. It's 10 out of 10. As soon as I listened to the record, I added all the other songs to my playlist and all that. So I'm really glad that I got this on vinyl. Even though it's not expensive or anything, but just to have it. And it's a record that you can spin the entirety of it and then you enjoy it. Unlike some other things that I got, because, you know, there are records that everybody buys that you buy it just for like one song, two songs. But this is one that there are no skips, nothing like that on those. So, next one I got is Loretta Lynn, Singing with Feeling. I guess I kind of put some country records at the end here because I do listen to everything, but this is what I've been listening to on vinyl. Loretta Lynn. And then Ernest Tubb and Loretta Lynn. This is probably one of my favorite records that I got here, like Loretta Lynn records. And then one that I also just got is by a songwriter, one of my favorites, Hogie Carmichael. I kind of put him with Mercer, but I would say that Mercer is definitely one of my favorites. I mean, definitely my favorite songwriter, but Hogie Carmichael is just, I don't know, he's got something to him that just adds to the music. You can't find nothing like this anywhere else. So I think I picked this up for like $30, and all the discs are in perfect condition, no cracks, no like blemishes or anything like that. So really glad I got this. But that's all I got for this video, and I still have plans to do Coltrane stuff, but I guess I just don't have time with college and all that, and I'm also talking too much, so but besides those records, I kind of want to do a podcast again with Donovan, because the second episode got taken down. I don't know why, but sometime soon, like between semesters, I kind of want to do that with him too. So, but anyway, if you've watched this far in the video, I appreciate it. And then I also appreciate everybody that are still watching my videos, because I know it's been a while and since I've put something up. So thank you.